Zen Burro here, and then I have Captain Gimpy as a
It's Lord Vader.
side mate. So we're here to talk about the extremely long title, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, or as I like to call it, the Zac Efron Ted Bundy experiment. Yes, this is playing on Netflix right now.
and for this foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's directed by Joe Berlinger, who also directed the documentary series Conversations with a Killer. I think it's called Conversations with a Killer.
Otherwise known as the Ted Bundy tapes.
Yeah, basically.
Which is what some people just cut the title to.
Yeah, so long titles aside, they're both actually pretty good to watch.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of that second thing you mentioned.
Yeah. But anyway, we're here to talk about the dramatization of Ted Bundy's imprisonment and the drama that centers on his girlfriend when he was out doing all these murders.
Yeah, Elizabeth Kendall.
Yeah, she wrote this book called The Phantom Prince, which is what the movie is based on. Her account of Bundy and his habits, how he was when he was at home. She also had a child, which apparently he was a great person around. But apparently she didn't believe that Ted Bundy was a killer until, like, the case blew over and after the execution and all that. Which I thought was kind of interesting when I first encountered something like that years ago when I was kind of obsessed with all this serial killer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watching this movie, it was interesting to see it all dramatized and not in a TV documentary form.
Yeah, there's something to be said for dramatizing it in cinema.
Yeah, and having Zac Efron play Ted Bundy he actually did a pretty good job emulating a psychopath.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch Ted Bundy in videos or you hear his voice, his audio recordings, basically.
You can definitely tell that Zac Efron spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah. And so I think he pulled it off really well. And what I like about this movie is that it doesn't try to show you the gory details of Bundy's until like near the very end, but even then it's not completely tasteless.
Yeah, because at that point you mostly see it in the form of documented evidence in the story.
Right, but the interesting thing about this film is they don't show you Bundy doing the murders. It's all kind of like shuffled under the carpet, and that's kind of what serial killers like to think of themselves as clever and cunning. And I think that in this movie, there came a point where I almost believed, as an audience member, if I were to put myself in the position, like, I don't know this guy at all, like, oh, he's pretty charming and all that. And
of course he couldn't have done this.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you know the history and you've read about all of it, of course you know, but if you just suspend your disbelief for a second, you can believe that it kind of shows Bundy as like a victim, and that's kind of how Bundy wanted to portray himself.
That, and like, you could totally see that this would make sense for a story based on a book written by a woman who had no idea who this guy really was until way after the fact.
Yeah.
Because the film plays like that, because you're basically, as an audience member, tied to her perspective of him.
Yep.
With little pieces of outside evidence that look circumstantial at best, and you'd be like, well, if I were in her position, I could totally see why this happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this movie so strong. Because a lot of us tend to think, I think we talked about this too, that you would just...
He didn't look like anybody's notion of somebody who would tear apart young girls.
And I gotta be honest, dude, I don't know if I would know. I mean, he was
My name is Ted Bundy.
pretty smooth talking.
I've never spoken to anybody about
and
this.
he had quite an effect on other women too, so...
And dudes were jealous of him, I mean, shit.
Yeah, so I think the film did a pretty good job of that. I mean, overall, I would highly recommend this for people who are into the true crime genre, or horror even.
Or a thriller.
Yeah, or a thriller.
Or a mystery.
Yeah, all of those, like, I would highly recommend this film too.
Yeah, if you like any of those genres, I think there's something there for you to enjoy, because it plays just like that, even though you know the story.
Yeah, and if you don't know anything, it's still a pretty good introduction to, like, the case and all that.
You'll definitely learn something, that's for damn sure.
Yeah. One of the things I did want to mention is, which I never really thought of when I was younger studying this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I had some idea of being a criminal justice major.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality of it seems pretty dull compared to, like, TV and movies and all that.
Dude, isn't that how it always is?
Yeah, but anyway, is like sometimes these types of media can feel exploitative.
Exploitative?
Yeah, for like victims' families and all that. And something I was thinking about as I was watching this is like, it's not. I think the film did a good job of not making this salacious or what's the other word? Sensationalist.
Or romanticizing serial killers.
Yeah, which is why I mentioned, like, it makes you think, like, maybe this dude didn't do it, but then it doesn't glorify in the killings and all this, which is why I said it's not really tasteless when they do show it.
You know, another thing that just occurred to me, too?
Mm-hmm.
They don't make Ted Bundy out to be a criminal mastermind, either.
Yeah.
Like, they make him just as flawed as he actually was.
Yeah. Like, you can see in the character the compulsive lying, because there are different scenes where he's talking to his lawyer, and his lawyer's like, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you lie to him?" And it's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Like, you can tell, like,
I didn't go to Colorado.
It's a habit that he just never really thought to change. And, you know, that shows you, like, oh, he is kind of like us, he's human, but then the actions he does and stuff are what make him more monstrous to us. So it's that strange link of, like, oh, under certain circumstances, would we end up like that person? Or, you know, are we really so different? Is it just because we were, I don't know, better socially trained?
Is it because we were raised better?
Yeah, or is there something in the genes? I don't know, it's all those interesting questions that pop up in these types of movies and novels.
And there are tons of documentaries that explore that, and a lot of research that goes into trying to figure that out, and quite frankly, we don't have any definitive conclusions.
Right.
What we do know is that it's a combination of genetic predisposition to impulsivity, low intensity of emotions, except when they pertain specifically to you.
Yeah.
And, did I say impulsivity?
Yeah, impulsivity.
Okay, yeah, those are and high quantities of risk-seeking behavior.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really don't know. And Lily Collins, in her role as Bundy's girlfriend.
Dude, she's come such a long way.
Yeah, I think she did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
You can almost see, like, the confusion and the heartbreak in her as she comes to realize that maybe this dude is not as clean-cut as he appears to be.
So I never talked about my impressions of Lily Collins as an actress. Like, at first, I kind of wrote her off because I forgot what I saw her in, but she was kind of in a minor role, and it was okay, but it was nothing to really write home about. And then she was in the Tolkien movie.
Yeah.
And she did a lot better there, and I was like, oh, maybe I should take a second look. And she just happened to be the female lead in this film. And then when I saw her in this, I'm like, dude, this girl can act her ass off. Like,
yeah.
I was like, wait, I forgot. That's Lily Collins? What just happened? I thought that was Liz Kendall.
Right.
So, yeah, props to you. Also, Haley Joel Osment was in this movie for a minute.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job as well. He played a coworker at Liz Kendall's job, and
who was trying to get some.
Yeah, he was trying to get some,
He got some.
Trying to stabilize her in that role, sort of. And also, Jim Parsons made an appearance in this film as the antagonist. I guess you could call him the antagonist.
He is an antagonist for sure. Because, like, one of the things that this movie made a point to show you was just how many courts Ted Bundy dragged this case through.
Yeah.
A, because he committed crimes in different jurisdictions, and B, because he kept trying to find a way out of being convicted.
Yeah.
And the storytellers, the writers, and the director of the film use that to great effect to make you think that maybe he really didn't do it. In fact, if I knew nothing about this case, I would just assume until the very end that, like, maybe he didn't do it.
Yeah.
But because I already know about this stuff, I'm like, yeah, you definitely did it all.
Right. So that was pretty fun to see, and John Malkovich as like the judge.
Right.
In his moral high horse, his lines and all that, which were actually recorded in the court case.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not often that we get to highly recommend a Netflix original, and I mean highly recommend.
Yeah.
This, if you're interested in the subject at all,
Mm-hmm.
this movie is interesting as hell.
Yeah.
Zac Efron was so freaking creepy. He kind of composited a version of Ted Bundy from the tapes of Ted Bundy. Someone like Hannibal Lecter
Yeah.
was clearly an influence because he tilted it a little more toward mild creepy in the way that he would come off.
Yeah.
Unless he was interacting with somebody who didn't know him.
Pretty much. So yeah.
Dude, he's a tremendous actor. I never thought I'd say that about a boy band dude.
Yep.
But, like, he's really good.
So yeah. The title, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, that's the name.
And it's because the judge actually said that in the court recordings, so they jacked it and put it on there and made it the title. And it was extremely well written, well directed, and very watchable.
Yeah. So yeah, if you can't remember, just enter Ted Bundy in the Netflix search bar and he'll show up.
That's the easier. That's how we found it.
Yeah. So check it out. Highly recommend it. And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yo.